So how did you decide to start airbrushing from painting?
Something I'm trying to do in these more recent paintings is capturing these weird light effects and glow and some like transcendent qualities that are really easy to do with a diffused airbrush. Almost like seeing stuff through a screen and the weird glow of a screen is what I'm really interested in right now.
Do you want to try to emulate that?
Yeah. I think there's some cool things in the digital realm. Trying to marry all my interests of background in computer science and studio art on my computer a lot of hours of the day, but I love running and going for walks and exploring nature, and I have transcendent experiences in YouTube rabbit holes and in going for a walk around the neighborhood. I think both things are important, so I'm trying to paint both of those right now. And all together in these more recent ones, they're a little chaotic.
I like that comparison, exploring your YouTube rabbit holes and exploring nature trails.
Yeah, currently I'm really interested in the history of Romanticism. And it was the dawn of the industrial age, and people were questioning what it means to be human and what's important anymore, and looking towards nature as kind of purity and exploration. And I think our current time is a little similar to that, in which there's fears of AI and technological change and loss of purpose or loss of meaning. And I think we can look towards both some of the good things technology can offer, but also look towards touching grass and being in nature as well.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Romanticism had a lot of nature influences in it.
Yeah.
Do you think that you're interested in romanticism because we need it?
I think so. It's too easy to be cynical these days about technology or what the future looks like. And I think as an artist, one thing we can do is look forward and have a little bit more of an optimistic view, or see what others can't. So I'm trying to take a little bit more of an optimistic approach, or be like, oh, there are good parts about going down internet rabbit holes or seeing people's creativity online, or like Wikipedia rabbit holes. All of these things are good parts of the internet.
To you about depicting nature specifically via AI as like a mediary.
I'm using exclusively AI reference images. The reason I'm using nature, there's a couple things going on. One is it can get at that uncanny valley of what does it mean when the simulated world becomes just as realistic as the natural world? Is that good? Is that bad? Video game engines. Growing up as a kid, every new video game got more realistic and more realistic. It's like we've hit a little bit of a plateau maybe, but that the next leap is on the horizon. Personally, I'm pretty conflicted over whether that's good or bad for humanity to be living in more and more simulated worlds. But at the same time, like, you can wander around GTA 5 or Skyrim and see a crazy simulated sunset, and it actually be a cool experience.
This piece in particular was one that I noticed.
I grew up near Walden Ponds, and in the summers, my friends and I would just hang out there and stack rocks and make little sculptures, and it's just such a simple act, but you're there in the real world. There's care and attention and creating beauty, and there's like they're now trail markers and cairns that lead the way. I thought it was a good symbol and something that brings me happiness to think about, but also is in this like super fake backdrop. Yeah, it makes me a little unsettled.
What does?
The like superficiality of it. I think it looks like a video game world. It's a little too empty.
I went to the Grand Canyon a few months ago.
I've never been.
And my brain couldn't register it as the Grand Canyon. Literally just looked like a screensaver, like a computer desktop to me.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that weird that the real and our images that we see on screens it's harder and harder to separate the two.
Your work makes me think of that kind of divide Do you find a utopicness in these places you're making?
I'm thinking of them in a spiritual or pseudo-spiritual sense of trying to capture those transcendent feelings of what it feels like to find the perfect YouTube video at 2 a.m. or what it feels like to just go for a walk at golden hour and be like, whoa, I am in the real world. This is awesome. So there's little elements of, I think of it as a spiritual sense in a way of, oh, you might have some magic moment like this, but if you don't capture it, it's like just a fleeting moment. And then the little runes and symbols is another nod to the pseudo-spiritual realm that I find in my sketchbooks. Even though I'm painting in a traditional realism, my sketchbooks are just little designs and mark making and symbols, and I want to find ways of incorporating that a little bit more in the future.
The runes specifically seem to nod toward tech.
Yeah, there is that alignment, and in a weird way, it does marry with the current age of tech we're in, where the Silicon Valley billionaires are talking about the coming AI changes, or the AI overlord is like the coming of a god that will solve all the world's problems magically. So we're in a very weird age where the same people that sort of poo-poo traditional religion have, in a way, invented a new religion of their own. And I find I'm caught in the middle a little bit, but also don't have much choice of whether or not to believe in this thing that's coming, because everyone's talking about it. A singularity or an all-powerful AI that will take everyone's job. Caught between pessimism and optimism there. So reading these or thinking about the sci-fi aspects of these and future and what the future could look like, and now I'm trying to push that a little bit more. How do I capture this feeling of being a little overwhelmed by today's day and age, by being online, but still having moments of clarity and moments of beauty in there.
Would you consider these more realism in that sense than romanticism?
Yeah, I think probably in our history book, yes. I'm still clinging to that notion of romanticism a little bit. And I still think putting the figures or the faces in, for me, is like a nod to humans in this vast space and room for exploration in the internet or in the world. I think there's really interesting writing right now about techno-romanticism.
How would you describe it?
Sort of taking some of those elements from Romantic era art of looking for beauty and like transcendence in nature, but pairing that with today's technological age and maybe looking for beauty and transcendence in the internet or in certain technological tools. So I think there can be room for both, and there can be room to explore, and that's the best parts of the internet today.
These pieces definitely seem to be a bit more visibly sci-fi in a sense.
Yes. Yeah. I think I was like holding myself back a little bit from doing too much genre sci-fi painting, but I think like in today's day and age, it's worth exploring. Looking at sci-fi concept art from the 60s, 70s, people were imagining a better future, and that's exciting. It's hard these days to find people really thinking about what 50 years, what 100 years from now looks like that's good for humanity. And I think I would like to go that direction a little bit more, maybe.